Hello, I'm Dr. Ron England, and this is your project, The Next Steps. This is if you've been taking one of my classes and you've created a project using the default project template. What do you do next? Well, what you want to do next is you want to create some pages. Okay. Well, if you look over here, I've created a directory called Pages, and I actually do this just because I want to keep stuff organized, and I have actually got a page that I've made in here, but we're going to make a new page here. So if you want to make a new page, you want to put it in this Pages directory, I right-click, and in the right-click, I'm going to go ahead and say Add. In this case, I'm going to add a new item. Notice I also have some of the options that I do frequently that will show up in this folder. However, let's say Add New Item. Let's just go to this. And I want to make a web form using a master page. Let me drop this down a little bit so you can see it. And one thing I do is I make sure that my naming convention for all my pages makes sense. So if I'm going to make a page to edit something, I'm going to call that page Edit, and then whatever it is that I'm going to edit. Now we're just going to make this Edit Something. And what it will do is it's going to create this page, and I have to choose the master page that I'm going to use for this. Remember, the master pages, if you've been looking at this, are the pages that have all the stuff that you want to have on every page. But remember, you can have more than one master page, so you can actually do a lot of cool things with this and have some pages that have one template in the background and some pages that have another template. And it still doesn't stop you from making pages with no master page. You can create web pages with and without master pages. All right, so when I do this, when I use this master page, it's got three sections: Content 1, Content 2, and Content 3. Well, what does this mean? Well, if I come down here and I look at the master page actually sets up these little sections that are the places where that content shows up. So if you would look, you would actually see in the master page where I've got this thing called a content placeholder. Okay, a content placeholder, and that content placeholder is a place where you're going to do in the pages that inherit from the master page, add the content that you want there. So that is how the master page and the page that you just created link together. You've got this content placeholder, which holds a section of the page, and over here, so I'm going to close this, over here in the edit something.aspx, I've got those three places, and there's three of them in the master page where I can put content. And it's got an ID that goes with it. Well, let's just put something in this section called featured content. So how do I do this? Well, it's simple. I just simply go to what I want to put there. So let's say I want to put a button there. I'm going to stick there. I'm going to stick a button there. I'm going to change the name. I do have naming conventions that I use for everything. So BTN is for every button. And I want to say this is button done. Okay? And the text will say done. Now, if I go over to here, see I'm in source mode right now. If I go over here to output or design mode, okay, design mode is going to show this with master page, it's going to show it kind of how it's going to look when you actually see it. Not completely, but part of the way. And I can see I've got this done right here. Well, a few things that I don't like about this right off the bat is it's like this done is, I can move it over. I may say, I really want this to have a margin here, but you know what? That's probably not the right way to do the margin. The best way to do the margin is likely to come back over here to the source, and let's see, I'm going to throw in a div. And a div is, you should know what a div is by now. I'm not going to tell you what a div is because we've done this in plenty of other classes. But a div does allow me to put something here that I can do, which is apply a style. And I am going to apply a style. I'm going to say style equals, and I don't want it to be on the left-hand side all the way on the edge. I want the margin left to be 5%. Okay, so now if I come back over to the design, that's moved over a little bit, but everything inside that div is going to be moved over 5%. So it looks a little bit better there. Okay, something I can do to make it look nice. Well, let's look at this. I've got you started. You dropped a button onto the page. I can drop other things onto the page, like I could drop a text box. Got all these little things over here to play with. Start dropping them onto the page. Okay, I want to put a place for it. I'll take the text box. I'm going to put it right here. Okay, now I've got a text box there. I'll call this TB enter something, okay, and there it is. I've got TB enter something now, and that will be a text box right there, and I haven't given it any size or anything, so if I go over to design mode, okay, there's a text box. Notice that there's the done's on the same line as that, but it's also 5% over. Now, what if I want to actually do something? Now, you've do some code that goes with this. Well, I need to get into the code behind. First, let's look at this over here in my Solution Explorer. I have the ability to go to the code behind by simply opening up the edit something.aspx and looking. I've got two files there. okay, edit something.aspx.cs and edit something.aspx.designer.cs. First, don't edit the designer, okay, but we're going to open it. Okay, what this is it's a partial class. Well, it's a partial class that has the definitions of the controls that you dropped onto the page there. So in other words, this file gets made when you use the designer. And it defines, okay, in reality in .NET, everything, okay, actually goes back to a text file. There's no magic designer binary file. This is all just text files. So when you dropped those controls onto the page, it created the definition of what's in those controls in this text. And there they are, button done and TBN or something. Woohoo! Okay. Now, note, okay, it is linked to the class edit something. Okay. In other words, the class edit something is a class that is created when you created that page. Let's go back to edit something.aspx and look at someplace else where this is being referenced. If you look at this code behind, the code behind can be a different page, but notice it's edit something.aspx.cs. That's where the code's going to go, and it inherits from edit something. This is important. If you change the name of this file, you've got to change all the references to this file too. So in other words, if you change the name of the aspx.page, you have to change this. You have to change the name of the edit something here in the code behind. You have to come over here and change the name of the class here and in the CS file and the name of the class in the designer. If all of those match up, it'll work. Now, look, this is a place where I can do code. Okay, what can I do with this code? We know something. What we'll do is we'll put something in the text box. TBN or something dot text equals default entry. Woohoo! Nice. Also, I got that button there. Okay, if I went back to the spx.page, okay, where I was looking at it, and you know what? I'll show you a quick and easy trick to do this. If you click on the done and hit enter, okay, it's going to take you over to the CS page, but it's going to create a method that responds to the button click. Okay, if I want to respond to the button click here, I'm going to go ahead and say, you know what? Let's change this TBN or something to say button was clicked. And I'm going to show you one last important thing in this video. Let's run this. Okay. First, I'm going to go to, if I'm on the page and I run it, it's going to open up Firefox for me because that's the default browser that I'm using. And it's going to open up Firefox for me because that's the default browser I'm using. And it's going to have this page that's going to show up here with the master in the background. And it's taking a long time, but it will eventually get there. So, okay, so there's default entry and then done. Now, when I click this done, it should change default entry to say button was clicked, which it does. Woohoo! Okay, again, another thing that was, you saw the response because the code behind executed when I clicked the done and the button was clicked was then sent over. Nice. Okay, that's all I'm going to show you for this video, but it shows you a little bit of the structure and how the pieces are put together. You're going to be doing a lot of this, so you're going to learn this really, really well as you go through it. Thank you very much, and hope you enjoyed this video, which was very, very simple, how to do some of the stuff that you can do in Visual Studio using C# and .NET. Thank you. Bye.